Hi there, and welcome to Monday Mindsets. I'm Mark Peebles here to help you get your mindset right for the week. And this week, I want to talk to you about the top producer mindset. What does it mean to have the mindset as a top producer? And I think this is a very relevant time of year to be talking about this mindset. So, as we're here at the end of the year, getting ready to go into a new year, I believe that this top producer mindset is what you need to have your best 2026. So, what do I mean by top producer? Well, first of all, in this business, they don't say that the 80-20 rule applies. In other words, 80% of the business is done by 20% of the agents. It's actually more the 10-90 rule, and it might even be more the 5-95 rule, where 5% of agents are doing the maximum amount, the highest amount of the business in the entire industry. Why is that? It's because they have a top producer mindset. As they go into a new year, first of all, they're going into their new year with a plan. And with that plan, they know what they need to do to execute and be successful in the year to come. The other thing that is part of a top producer mindset is that they're not swayed by the news or by the markets. They're laser beam focused on the things that are most important to get their business moving in the year to come. So they're not listening to the news saying that interest rates are staying the same, or even that business is going to be up by 4% in 2026. I think a report recently came out saying that, one of the predictions, but they don't pay attention to that stuff. They know that they're going to make the calls, that they're going to be in touch with their sphere of influence, their list. They know that they're going to be focused on relationships. And that is what is ultimately going to drive the opportunities in their business in the new year. So they're not swayed by whatever the market says. You know, there's always going to be a new political season. There's always going to be some crisis happening in the world. And top producers, they're not swayed by that. They keep doing the things that they have to do in order to be successful. Now, the last thing when it comes to being a top producer and having a top producer mindset is top producers, they have routines. They have a regimen that they're going to go through on a daily basis. So why do they do that? One, to make sure that the most important things get covered. And they do. So they set aside time in the morning to clear their mind, to exercise, to get their health right when it comes to their spirituality, their physical health, their emotional health, their mental health. They are working through these things every single morning in their routine. They have a time that they get into the office. And when they get into the office, they know what their modes of work are for the day. They know that some of that time is going to specifically be spent building relationships. I call that connective work. They know that some of that time is going to specifically be spent in front of clients performing. That's called performance work. And they know some of that time that they're going to spend every day is work that just has to get done to keep business moving forward. We call that essential work. But then they know they also need very focused times with no interruptions where they can work on some of the things that are building their greater business. They're working on their business. We call that deep work. So they know these things. They're doing these things. They're very much into their routine and their regimen. And once they set out to accomplish the mission for the day, they work all the way through to the end. And so you've got to let your day be dictated by your plan, right? You dictate your day. The craziness that happens in this business should not dictate your plan. You should have the plan that dictates your day. So that's a top producer mindset. Top producers, they think differently. They don't think like, oh, I've got to find that next deal. No, they have a plan. that they're going to execute on. They don't get swayed by the news or by the market. And then they have routines and a regimen so that ultimately they accomplish their plan, they get more done, they grow their business, they own the market because they have a top producer mindset. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next week.